All right. And hopefully
hello,
you can hear
Cody.
me.
How's it going?
Hey,
Yes, we can. We definitely can.
All right. Well, shall we continue with the already submitted hackathon, or should we just showcase what we actually did for the hackathon?
I think we can showcase. Let's talk about what we built this week a little bit, and then we'll see if we can improve it.
Right. All right. So I can't remember where we ended. Do you remember? We ended.
Yeah. You added the functions so that we can start tracking the packages.
Right. Yes. Okay. But we
Into
never
the
added the chat, and we never showed the tracked. So now that we. Okay.
Oh,
All
Naz
right.
is here. Hello, Naz.
Oh, I don't have my chat open. Let me see here. Oh, hello. All right. So, as you can see, we obviously changed the homepage here. We added a couple packages that we're using in this project, if you want to quickly track them. We also added a couple loading states. So as you start to look for something, it will kind of load, and then you'll give you your results. We've got, obviously, the ability to toggle this.
Nice.
So we're now tracking Supabase. If we click over to tracked here, we can actually see that we are tracking it. And if we go into chat, we should be able to ask our chat, what packages am I tracking? And it says I am currently tracking Supabase. Perfect. What is the latest version? Whoops.
Let's see.
That was a terrible spelling.
Nice.
All right. There we go. And then I can say untrack Supabase. And there we go. It has stopped tracking it. You know, that is actually, oh, there we go. Look at that. Gone.
That's awesome.
Now we can also say track Lerna. And if we click here, we should. Oh, there you go. That's something we could fix today.
For caching.
Yeah. So let's hit that. There we go. It is, in fact, tracking it. It's just not updating in real time.
Yeah, that's caching.
So that could just be a revalidation. So basically, okay, aren't we already revalidating? Let's take a look at the actions. So we have our actions here. We have a track package. Okay, we do not need to console log this anymore. We are not. We are actually, oh no, we are. We are revalidating that path. So why did it not update? Await fetch release notes. And what is fetch release notes? Okay, yes, that makes sense. Okay. Oh, we have a catch in there. Okay. Well, that's interesting. It should revalidate, but it doesn't. So let's take a look here. Tracked packages. Await get tracked packages. It's in a query. Does Supabase cache?
No.
But
it might not be called again.
So if we go back to chat, though, and we ask it to untrack Lerna.
But on your page,
untrack is working. That's interesting. You know what it actually might be? If we say track Lerna again, I wonder if it's because we're waiting for the trigger.
Oh, you built this with the trigger?
So if I go back to tracked, so you see it's still not there, but we're still haven't received a success.
Do we have an await on that trigger?
There we go. So if we go back and forth, so it does work. So you know what? We do have an await on it. Let's go into the actions.
Maybe you just need to remove it.
Yeah, we'll just validate before we call that. Where did that go? It was right here. So we could just revalidate these before we actually do the trigger. There's no harm. We're already updating the database. Fetch releases just does the trigger.
Yeah.
So if we now go here and we ask, we should probably reload this. If we then ask it to track, I don't know, what's a package we could track?
Next.
Track next. All right. There we go. And we go back. There we go. Okay, so revalidating before we await for the trigger. That makes more sense. All right, now let's ask it to untrack all packages. Okay, fetches it, and there we go. We should be able to go back and see. Oh, that's interesting. What did it? Okay.
Can you
So
go
there
on
you
the
go.
page, on the tracked page?
This one,
The on
Supabase.
track is there. So maybe go on the tracked page, and can you export a constant called revalidate? And just put like 1 just to see.
But that's the whole point of revalidate.
I know
That's
it's
the
the
whole
point of
point of us
revalidate path.
calling the thing. So you said 1?
Yeah,
Is that every
I,
minute? Is this minutes or seconds?
that's a second, but nobody cares.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just a test. Yeah,
All right. So we'll go back.
it's just to see, but because the revalidate path, like I don't know, maybe it's working well with server actions or whatever, but I don't know.
Let's see if we've actually never tried this. Let's see if I can follow 4 packages.
I guess it can.
I guess it can. All right. Okay, there we go. And then we can say untrack all. Ah, nope. Still didn't do it.
Hmm.
Interesting. I wonder if we wait if it will revalidate after a certain amount of time. We didn't run a trigger though, right? No, we did not.
That's interesting.
Oh, hold on. Oh, there we go. That took a few tries to actually get that. Okay. All right. Well, let's showcase the chat code first. It sounds like that's the interesting part.
Yeah, Naz was asking as well. Let's maybe we can do like a quick explanation. So just for context, it is a Next.js app. We are using Supabase on the background because, like we mentioned last week, we participated in the hackathon, so we needed to use Supabase to some project. So we use that. We also use another tool called trigger.dev to do background jobs, to fetch information on GitHub or whatever. And we use Vercel AI SDK for the chat part. So this is what Cody is going to show right now.
Yeah, so this is our chat route. Basically, it's just a post request here. It takes in messages. We then create a result from a stream. We've chosen GPT-4o Mini as our model. And then we give it our system prompts. As you can see, there's not a ton of them, but just kind of basic knowledge of what this bot is for, how it should respond, making sure that the package name is similar to the package names that we currently track. If they ask about a package that is not tracked, then we'll try and find a similar one. We also have I shouldn't say
Easter
we,
eggs.
Val added a couple Easter eggs. So if you mention Supabase, it will always put in something about Supabase. If you mention Firebase, it will always respond with, "Do you mean Supabase?" And if you ask any kind of question about Postgres, it will it'll actually say, "Do you mean other than Postgres?" Sorry, it'll say, "Do you mean Postgres?" Just kidding, and then it will answer for you. Otherwise, it will say, "Sorry, I don't seem to have that knowledge." I actually don't know this line, Val. You might have to explain this line, but I assume it just takes those messages that we send in and converts them to something for the model to have as like its core knowledge base.
I don't really know what the core messages function is, but I guess we could check Vercel AI to see what's going on.
Let's see here. Converts an array of messages that can be used with the AI core functions, e.g. stream text. Okay, so it's actually just to convert to what this function can actually accept and take.
Yeah,
Whatever it can
probably.
consume.
So,
Okay.
so that we can actually stream the responses instead of
Right.
just like receive.
That does sound like Val right now. All right. So then we have our tools, all the tools we've given this bot. So for example, that track package, we've given it that sort of tool where if a user asks to track a package, then we have to obviously take that package name and we ask it to execute this function right here.
That's pretty cool.
We've got untracked package. We've got fetch users tracked packages. We have checking npm if that package that they're trying to talk about doesn't exist or we don't know which package they're talking about. We'll use this to compare. Also, this is another part of the check for similar packages.
In case
Fetch
you misspell.
releases.
Yeah.
Sorry?
In case you misspell, like the similar packages, if you type like Supabase.js when it's actually called at Supabase.js, then it would like kind of try and
Yes.
its best to find the package.
Yes. And then we have fetch releases and match releases, which I think you built these ones. You might want to talk about those ones.
Yeah, so fetch releases, it's just fetching all of the releases in the database for this particular package. And then the match releases is the meat of the chat, I would say. It's the one that will check the embeddings that we created from the release notes and will try and its best to match. So I think it's using a cosine similarity method to try and match the embeddings together. So first, before you call this, you have to kind of convert the question into an embedding itself. So the prompt of the user has to be an embedding. And then it's going to compare those using math, which I suck at, to try and find the closest matches. And then answer to you with that context, obviously.
And yeah, that's the route side. And then inside the actual chat itself is this function, this hook, I should say, that comes from AI React. Basically gives us all the messages that we're passing back and forth. It gives us the input, which actually I didn't even look into your code on this one, but I assume, yeah, it's the value of the input we're typing. I got a bug flying around my face here. Mosquito, sorry about that. Then you got a handle input change and a handle submit, and I see your max steps 5 there. Okay. What's the max steps 5 for?
So that one is to make sure that, you know, if you send a prompt, you're not expecting just one message. You're expecting to be able to call multiple tools and kind of like do it in sequence. So if your prompt triggers the model to be like, hey, I need to fetch more context or whatever, it's going to trigger a tool, and then it's going to try and resend the prompt with whatever results it got from the tool again, and it's going to do it up to 5 times. The reason why we put 5, or at least some kind of limit, you could increase it to like a bigger
Yes,
number.
but you'd be building crazy responses.
But yeah, and you want to put a limit in there because if you create an endless loop, then your API key will just bill you for $1 million. So you might want
Fair.
to
All
make
right.
sure you have a limit there. Yeah.
Yeah, so then we have all of our messages down here and our form with our input. Nice and simple. You talk, it answers. And it took this line of code with, of course, the route we had to build and all the prompting we had to do.
Yep. So it's a lot of text. It's a lot of finding the words to tell the model
Yes.
what you want, and sometimes it doesn't really behave the way you want to.
Yep. Like last night when we tried to, when we were going to publish this and you accidentally reverted all your changes.
For example, yeah. So yeah, like it's a new world for sure, but it's super interesting what we can do. Like immediately, I think it prompted both of us with a bunch of ideas of things we could build around it. So that's pretty exciting, I guess.
Which gets us into today. I don't have a ton of time, as I said, but I would like to try and get change logs. I'd like to be able to kind of see the difference between 2 versions. So I think right now, if we track a package, let's track next. So if we track next here and we kind of ask it some questions, this might have to, I don't think we've actually tracked this yet. Oh, look at this. We already aren't working again. Interesting. I don't think your revalidation of 1 worked.
Yeah, maybe not.
Let's let this become successful. Interesting. Okay. All right, let's see if it knows about next. What version is next on? Oh, it doesn't have knowledge. What?
Did it pull the versions?
Oh, hold on. What's this? Get changelog
So it couldn't find the
404.
changelog. Yeah, that means it couldn't find the changelog, but it should keep going anyway.
Right? Yeah. Okay. So let's see what's
But
going on.
next has a bunch of versions, so your trigger's just finished basically.
You think? Oh, you think it finished now?
Yeah.
Let's see. It doesn't.
No.
It doesn't have it. So let's see. Supabase. Is it status? If I want that URL.
Yeah.
Oh, I definitely don't want the API URL. My bad.
54323.
Okay. We go table editor, releases. Actually, we probably want packages. Next is 20.
We do have
Releases.
next.
Add filter. Package ID 20. Okay, so they are in here. So what's the deal? Why doesn't it know? It should be returning, I assume, 15. Oh, no. Oh, yeah. They do have a 15 Canary version. Okay.
I believe they have an RC now, even.
Oh, now it can answer. All right.
Yeah, but it looks like this is information from NPM. You see the tool that it called is checking NPM.
Yes.
So it didn't look into our track packages.
Okay.
Okay, so it did find the 14.2.13.
Oh, look at this. It even
does
knows about the
mention
canary.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I were to say what is new in the canary release compared to the current release, this is where it fails. This is where we want to try and
this doesn't work as
fix
expected all the time. Yeah. So here it's kind of showing you like a lot of different versions.
Oh, I got it. There.
The canary and stuff. Like that's irrelevant information. So we would need to get closer to that. But like I mentioned, like they don't have a changelog.md at the root, which is what we're kind of looking for. So what we could do potentially is rebuild it based on all the releases note that the release notes that we're fetching. We could rebuild their changelog entirely.
Okay.
And then try to embed that, I guess.
So you're thinking another trigger?
Pretty much, yeah. But it would only trigger if the changelog is a 404. So if we can't find a changelog.md, then we fetched all the releases that we just saved because the releases are saved before the changelog. So we could fetch those releases that we saved and then from the release node generate a changelog in order and then embed that.
Okay, let's try it.
Keeping in mind that the changelog embedding is not it's not chunked. So if you rebuild the changelog of Next from the very beginning, it's going to be a massively long changelog, and so we need to chunk it.
Yeah, and preferably we want to. I guess it doesn't matter where we start the chunk. We're going to do the entire thing. Okay.
It doesn't matter, but you could do it per heading. So like each version will have a heading with the version, and then we would have the commits. So we could always split by heading. So it's essentially the same embedding as the releases, which is what I don't understand because it should do the same, right?
Fair. Except for the releases don't, like if we go to
it's the same
Next.js, but their releases don't really say. I can't remember what that was. Was it Next.js? No. This is just, maybe we can see. I think it's for sale, actually. That's why. And then next, there we go. Yeah, so if we click on their release, this is all we get from it. So we don't get a ton of information.
No, but we get the commits, the core changes. If there are any breaking changes, we get those as well. And then I pre-panned this with the version number and the name of the package as well.
Okay.
Because I noticed by when we started chunking the release embeddings, it wasn't necessarily like putting the name of the package in it, so it wasn't able to fetch the releases related to that package when using the embedding matching. So
Right. Okay.
but yeah, we could actually answer Snaz's question right now because I think that could be interesting because we're talking about embeddings and releases and all that stuff, but we haven't really shown the DB. So it could be interesting to show a little bit of Supabase and what we did. So I can talk a little bit about that, and you can be my guide on the screen, Cody. But basically, so we had the users table since the last stream, I believe, and we also built the packages last time, the packages table and the package user. So the packages table has all the packages that a user asks to track. We only track the package once, so we do a unique check on the name of the package because there's no need to track Next.js multiple times if people are interested in it. And that's why we have the package user table, so we can connect a package to a user, and this way we know they are tracking it. What we did behind the scenes this week is added the releases table and the changelogs table. So the releases table will store all the releases that we can find on GitHub with their release note, and it would generate an embedding for that particular releases of the release notes that they have. And this is connected to the package with the package ID. This runs on the trigger.dev that we created. So it runs in the background, fetches everything on GitHub, kind of sets everything in the database. And then we do the same for the changelog. So we try to look for a changelog MD at the root of the package, of the repository on GitHub. And if it exists, then we take that changelog MD and we also generate an embedding, and then we store it. What I did notice on some packages like Storybook, for example, that have a massive changelog, and they actually have multiple changelogs, and we're only fetching one of them. What I noticed though is sometimes the embedding is too big, so it doesn't work. It just fails. It cannot create the embedding. So that's an issue that we're going to have to solve at some point. But that's essentially how it works. And so this embedding is like a vector thing. So it transforms your text that you have into a vector. So it's a step that they call tokenization. And so we use OpenAI for this. They have an API endpoint that you can call to do that. So there's no real need to use any other package, but you could use Tick token, I believe, is one of the packages that you can use to do that. Yeah, and then we save everything in that DB. Then we put some RLS policies a little bit, just to be able to create the packages and stuff that people can access.
I actually noticed changelogs doesn't have one.
Yeah, I just noticed that too. So that might be why the changelog cannot be fetched sometimes by the chat.
Yes.
Yeah. Because the chat does leverage the permissions of the user.
Let's add one.
You can add the same as the releases, I think.
Yeah, we should. No policies created yet. Is it just create?
Yeah, I mean, this one is just like select, and it's all users authenticated. So it should be fairly simple.
Yeah, but how do I just choose the one that already exists?
You cannot.
What?
Policies are for a table.
No way. All right, so authenticated.
One way you can get around this is to use a function, and then you call that function in your using. If you really need to reuse some logic.
Yeah. Okay, so permissive, we'll call it authenticated.
Yeah, and then you select the role, authenticated, and then you say using true. That's it.
All right, there we go.
Easy enough.
Okay.
Can you try it in the table editor? Like log in as a user, go into changelog, see what you see.
That's acting as a user, right?
Yeah. So act as Cody. Okay, so you can see it. That's good.
Perfect. And if I go anon, I can see none.
Nice.
Okay, perfect. All right, and then the triggers. So that we actually did as a separate package down here.
Yes, and it uses trigger.dev.
So basically, we just have two triggers. We have a fetch release notes trigger. Did you want to talk about this one?
Yes, so the fetch release note, we can see that we're initializing it with two clients, the Supabase client and the OctoKit client. The Supabase client uses the service role key, so this one actually has like full access to Supabase because we don't have to worry about roles in there. And then the OctoKit is using the credentials that we have from our GitHub app that we created. And then the run function will just go and do what needs to be done. So it's going to start by fetching the package data for the package that we're trying to track. So I believe it fetches the releases. Well, it fetches the npm information a little bit, and then the releases on GitHub.
Yeah.
So the package data is fetching to see if we have it in the database already, because if we do, we reuse the same ID. And then we check if we have existing releases, just to skip a little bit, that we don't want to recreate releases all the time, you know. And then we fetch the GitHub releases from the GitHub API. We insert the releases by doing an upsert. And then we fetch the changelog from GitHub API as well. And then we insert the changelog. So those are pretty basic functions. And then we just return some kind of object.
And then below the trigger is all the functions that you saw being called.
Yeah, so fetch package data, and the releases is Supabase. Then we have GitHub, and then GitHub releases. So that's the logic for the GitHub releases. And then insert them, and then insert changelog is the one to insert in Supabase. And then we have chunk text by tokens as well. So this is where we do the chunking before we do the embedding. And the encode function, I believe, is coming from TikToken, but I'm not sure. Which one did we end up using? I think it's.
I don't know if did you change it? I used
Tokenizer.
Tokenizer.
So that's the one, and then I pulled in Markdown it, so we can like convert the Markdown into raw text.
Okay.
This way, the embedding doesn't have all the Markdown syntax, which takes space, right? So.
Okay. Yep.
So I'm stripping it out, and I stripped the HTML as well.
Does that mean we're no longer converting it? Because I think I converted it to HTML and into sentences or something like that.
Yeah, so Markdown it will take the text from GitHub, convert it into Markdown, and then we remove HTML tags from it.
Okay, yeah, so parse. So yeah, you do render it, and then you strip the HTML,
yeah,
and then you chunk it. Okay. All right. And then we just have a cron job that essentially goes over. It runs every day at midnight. This is only when it's deployed. It doesn't actually happen right now, but if you actually deploy, actually it does happen right now. Sorry, because I ran dev, but
yeah.
But I won't be running this for 24 hours, so it won't call again. But basically, it's just a cron job that goes over, and it loops every package that we currently have, and it checks if there's anything that was released today. And it'll go over and embed those as well.
Yeah, it just re-triggers the other trigger. So we're kind of piggybacking on it. So that's a cool tool. Maybe we can show the interface of trigger.dev real quick.
That could be interesting. Here. What is that?
Yeah,
so do I have to log in? I think I do have to log in. Oh, look at that. I don't have to log in.
There you go. So we can see our triggers here.
Oh, look at that. The average duration they run is 17.8 seconds.
It's pretty good.
And it looks like we actually did have a single run. Maybe I left this running.
Yeah, it could have been me since I worked late. So.
Oh, fair.
Yeah. And then if you go into runs, we can see like all the runs that we did. So we did a lot of testing, as you can probably see.
Yeah.
But this is a really cool tool. Like, I don't know if you liked it, Cody, but I really enjoyed working with it. It's really well done.
Yeah. Well, it was so simple to add. Like it just seemed, I don't know, it just seemed to work. Just perfect. It was great.
definitely
I think I will
recommend.
probably use this to keep one of my free projects just running. I'll just have a cron that just pings my database.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you just create an endpoint in your Next.js app, and you use a Vercel cron. It's
Oh,
probably
I guess
easy.
I could do a Vercel cron as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair. That's fair.
So yeah, that's what we used. It was pretty fun to try out all those new technologies.
Yeah. All right. So back to this. So you want to essentially check if there's a change log. If there is, we're just going to do some work on that. If there
Yep.
isn't, we're going to try and build a change log based on the releases.
Yeah, but can you try like other questions that failed in the past? Because now that we have the RLS on the changelog, it should be able to kind of
Sure.
have better
Which
data, I
packages
guess.
am I tracking? Only next. All right, let's track. Do you remember which ones we were testing with that had
Well,
change logs?
Storybook has a changelog. It's a biggie though, so it's going to take a little bit longer to kind of
All right,
run the trigger.
let's wait for it.
It's a big one. They have a bunch of releases. They're very productive.
I
But
think
yeah,
they're on version. Did they go to version 9 or are they on version 8 now?
I think it's 8. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Well, we'll find out when this runs.
Maybe you can see in trigger.dev, just show the run so we can see like what we're looking at. So there you
Here it
go.
is.
It's executing here. If you click on it, you can see a little more detail. So we can see what's kind of going on here. Starting to fetch the release notes, package 21, blah, blah, blah. Fetching the releases. Right now we're just parsing the changelog. So you see that one as a biggie.
Yep.
We'll see if it works because, like I said, their changelog is quite massive. So sometimes the embedding doesn't work properly.
Oh.
So that's one of those, I think.
Oh, it was successful.
Okay.
All right. So if we go back, we should be able to ask now, what is the latest version of Storybook?
It's
Oh, it's
checking
checking
NPM.
NPM. Interesting. You know, I kind of like that anyways. It's more accurate.
Fair. Fair.
All right, so 8.3.2, and we can say, is there any canary releases? It should go into ours for this. Yeah, there we go.
There are several Canary releases.
Okay.
They're mostly alphas, not Canary, but I guess it found the closest.
Interesting. Okay. Can I ask you about the change log? Let's see.
I don't remember if I created a tool for it. It's only doing match releases.
Mmm.
And match releases only works on the release table yet. I didn't create the function for the changelog table.
Oh, okay.
So we would need to create a match changelog.
Yes. Okay. It definitely looks like
Well, they have a ton of releases.
fair.
And remember, we changed that method yesterday to go YOLO and fetch all of them. so,
Oh, right. All right.
so it might be like a little intense. Even though the match releases does have a limit.
We almost need a
But
we almost need something to let you know that it's thinking.
there's an error here. If you look at your terminal, I would bet there is some kind of embedding issue. There you go.
Yep.
Bam. Too big. Rate
Yep,
limited.
rate limited. Limit of 200,000.
Holy moly. So
We
we just blew
requested.
past that? Damn. Okay.
Wait, what? I'm
So I guess that
confused.
changelog is massive, man.
But it says the limit is 200,000. We used 45,160. Requested 61,306.
I don't know. What does it say in the green text? Oh, up there. Please try again in 6 seconds. Used 159,000 and we requested 61 on top. So
Okay.
that blows past the 200,000. Yeah. Yeah, that changelog is too big. So we see we need to find a way to chunk it because we won't be able to get the full changelog. The thing is,
Right.
I don't know. Some packages are different, right? Some packages put like really good release note in their releases, so we can find all the information we need in there. Some other packages, their release on GitHub, the release notes are kind of sparse, and the actual information is in the changelog. And some other packages, they don't even do anything. So I found packages that don't have release notes at all. It's just like, okay.
Hmm.
So I don't know. It's very hard to kind of cater to all the different types of release note pattern that people can use.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
But yeah,
Is
look at
this
that.
all the releases that it was taking?
Yeah, there's a ton. And it sends
Okay.
that plus the history of messages from the
Right.
conversation.
And it's every time.
Yeah,
So okay, yeah, that's
it's massive. And every time it calls a tool, it's going to pull in more data and send it again.
exactly. So
So yeah, we're blasting OpenAI right now.
hmm.
I mean, it's okay. All the testing that I did this week, I only paid 42 cents so far.
I know, right? I
Like,
know. I was checking the other day and I think I was up to 16 cents and I was like, oh, this is nothing.
so play with OpenAI. It's pretty cheap. It's worth it. It's fun. Do it.
Yeah, for sure. But now how do we want to tackle this? So we need to.
Well, it would be interesting for you to look at the embedding function because that one we haven't talked about. It is in
the,
Supabase. You can read it if you want.
the embedding function?
Yes.
What do you mean?
So go into Supabase and then go to database function and match releases. And you can open this by clicking on the three dots and do like edit or whatever. This way you
Oh,
can see the
interesting. I didn't
function.
know you actually created this. Okay.
Yeah, so this function is on the public schema. It has like three arguments, which we are sending from Next.js, but I'll explain that shortly. So we have three arguments. We have the query embedding, we have the match threshold, which is kind of a threshold of similarity that you're trying to hit. And then we have the match count, which is how many matches you should return.
Mm,
And
okay.
then the method is using a cosine similarity. So the cosine similarity is this kind of like spaceship operator that you can see. Um,
Yeah, I was looking at that. I was about to ask you what that was.
yes, so that's cosine similarity. If you use a pound symbol in the middle, it's going to use a different similarity method. I believe Supabase has support for three different similarities. I can probably find that real quick. But it's not really Supabase. It's mostly like PG Vector. But Supabase can
Okay.
leverage it, obviously. Uh, let's see. PG Vector, AI Vector, blah blah blah. Vector indices. Okay, so if you do less than dash greater than, that's a Euclidean distance. If you do less than pound greater than, that's negative inner product. And then the one we're using right now is cosine distance. That's the actual name of it. I have no freaking idea what that means. I'm not a math expert, but I'm assuming those are different ways to kind of compare those vectors together and try to find like how similar they are. to one another.
Right. Whatever path it's going to follow through to get the next best answer in its sequence.
Pretty much, yeah. I noticed, like, from doing some research online, that for most RAG, so retrieval augmented generation,
Mhm.
most people tend to use cosine distance. So that's kind of why I went with that.
Okay.
I just followed what I could find online.
Right.
But yeah, it would be interesting to dive deeper into like how what they actually do. I also had to add a couple of indexes on those embed columns because otherwise it would take forever to search on them. So pgvector has two types of different indexes you can put on embedding on vector columns. You can
Okay.
put a HNSW index, and you can put a IVFF flat or IVF flat, I guess, on it. IVF flat tends to work best when you already have data in your database. HNSW seems to be the one that Supabase actually recommends in one of their video about AI. So I
Okay.
went with that one as well. Yeah. Um, so yeah, that's what needed to happen for the whole embedding situation. So now we need a similar method like this, but for the changelog.
Yeah. Well, for the releases thing, what we could do is to attempt to reduce the number of tokens we're sending is rather than fetch them all, only allow for comparison. This way, you only fetch versions 2 to 3, which would reduce the amount of data you're fetching. The thing, though, is like if you run into a package that's like version 1.11192 or something, you're gonna have a lot of releases.
Well, yeah. I mean, what we can do though here is what we really need in this query is the embedding. I'm
In
pretty
this,
sure we don't need the ID or the version, so that could in the release notes because the release notes are just the text version of them, and we don't need it
okay.
because it's going to use the embedding
So
unless it's using the embedding for the matching, and then the LLM is actually using the release notes we return, which is a possibility.
I mean, there's only one way to know, right? Just delete these.
Just remove it and find out.
Essentially like
Uh,
this, confirm.
Let me see. Would that
Actually,
work
I'm going
though?
to cut that so I have it saved.
Yeah, I guess it would work. No, it doesn't. See, it needs an ID because the embeddings are alone. So we need to keep the ID at least.
Okay, that makes sense. Oops, what did I just do? Edit. Okay, so we'll delete those. Nope, it still needs too
What is
few
it?
columns.
Oh, return type mismatch. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's because we're trying to return a table, and so table needs ID, title,
Oops.
body, similarity. Yeah. You
Okay,
see
so
the return
we
type?
do have to keep it.
Yeah. So unless we could modify the return type, but we have to do it with a query. We can't do it in the editor here.
Mm. I mean, we could also create another function and just test it.
Sure. Yeah, you could do that.
So, do you want to
But
just try with the changelog for now? Let's just do
yeah,
that part.
let's try to build the function for the changelog.
So we'll call
We'll
it
see how it goes.
match changelog.
Yeah, don't create it from here though. Use SQL because otherwise we don't have
Oh, okay.
proper control. Yeah,
Right, we don't have that.
it's yeah
Well, I guess it is going to be an invoker, anyways. But
the editor is missing some things. But you can take example from the migration. There's the full query in the migrations.
yes, the migrations.
We can just
Supabase
copy that
migrations.
query. Figure it out. So
Add releases, add embeddings, create index. Probably this guy.
yeah. What do you think of AI NAS so far? Is it good? Does it make you want to try it?
Okay, so interesting. You did have a policy on this, but it didn't take. That's weird.
It did, but it's on the releases.
Ah,
Yeah. So
okay.
we need a similar thing, but for changelog.
All right, so we've got
Yeah.
set
Remove
check
that first
function.
line. Yeah, remove that. Supabase is going to add that in migration anyway.
Okay, so create a replace function. We'll call it public match changelog. And we want to do query embedding vector, match threshold, match count. I assume we're doing the same.
Yeah.
Okay. And then it returns a table, which will be, I don't remember what that table. Can I open this in a separate tab without losing this? Yes, I can. Sweet. So what we got? ID, package ID, changelog, and embedding. So we want ID, changelog, and embedding.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, we could try on that one to not include the changelog and see what happens, but I believe it needs to be there because otherwise
it would make sense because otherwise it wouldn't know where to look, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Oh, yes, it seems a bit easier to use than I thought it. Right? Same. I felt the same way when I started using it.
Yeah.
Yes, you definitely need to be careful with the size of data for sure.
The size of the data depends on the embedding size. Like how many tokens can you send to the LLM? So depending on the LLM you're using, you can send a bunch. Here, the one we're using can send 1,537 tokens. So we have to chunk properly. And so for the tokens, there's a thing. If you go on OpenAI tokens, actually, can you open that on your site, Cody? It's the OpenAI tokenizer.
OpenAI tokenizer.
Yep. So that kind of it helps you have a sense of how tokenizing happens. So if you paste some text here, you can take the paragraph above if you want and just paste it in there. You'll see how it's kind of parsing this, right? So this whole text here, yes, there are 475 characters, but it doesn't necessarily parse properly. And you can see that some words can be split as well, right? So if you look at tokenized, there's a word tokenized in the second paragraph. That one is actually split in 2 different tokens. Roughly, we can use the rule of thumb that OpenAI is giving us right under, which is it's roughly 4 characters of text, but it's not always the case. Like sometimes it's a little bit more. So yeah, what you need to ensure is that the number of token here is not bigger than the model you're using, because otherwise it doesn't go through.
And that tokenizing is, if I click show example, it's going to tokenize it, right? Oh, I see. Show example just gave me another example. Okay.
Yeah, Hugging Face has a benchmark of all the different models and what their tokenizer kind of supports. I just need to find a link here. But yeah, they have a whole database that they built where you can compare the different things.
Okay.
I don't know where it is, but yeah, okay. It's on the Hugging Face website. Yeah.
So we have I'm just gonna put these beside each other. Oh no, can I not? Never mind, I cannot do that. All right.
Well, close the assistant. It's going to be fine.
Oh. It's still kind of. Can I make this smaller? No, that's as small as it gets.
Yeah.
Damn. Oh well. I will put it off to the side over here. I just want that other window. Where did that go? What? Wait, where did it go?
I don't know.
I am very lost. Here it is. Okay. My bad. Yeah, I just want to be able to see these tables. So we've got ID, big int, we got no title. So we just have changelog, which is text, and then we have embedding, which I noticed you don't even have in here. That's interesting. You didn't actually...
No, we have the similarity. Similarity is the embedding. You see the column in the select? That's what you need to match. So here, the columns in the select are wrong. So I would start here.
Yes. So we want to select language table as function select from releases. So we actually want to do from change logs.
Yeah, and you want to change that everywhere it says releases.
Yeah. Change logs.id. We don't have a version, so
Yeah.
do we need to return the package ID?
No, no, should
Okay.
be okay.
Okay. Wait, are you sure we don't need to return the package ID? Because we want to return the changelog for that package, right?
Yeah, but it's fine. I mean,
Okay.
we're mashing with the embedding, right? So,
Yeah.
but we later on we can try it just to see if it's better. Because instead of doing select from changelogs, we could do select from changelogs and packages, and actually pull the package name in there, and that might be
Yes,
helpful.
fair. We could also do a join or whatever, but
Yeah,
okay, so select changelog ID and changelog, and then
and then the
your
similarity.
similarity from changelogs, where the similarity is greater than the threshold, order it ascending, and then limit by the match count.
Yeah.
And I don't think we do we need this.
Actually, maybe we should do order descending.
This should only actually return one changelog, so
Well, for this one, yes, but for the releases,
yeah, fair. So I actually don't even need to order this because
yeah.
it will
But
return
it
one.
won't return just one changelog though.
No?
But no, because we have the whole like thing. But what I'm thinking is we don't even need the embedding for the changelog because, like you mentioned, we can only have one. So we don't even need to do a whole like embedding situation. We could just fetch the changelog based on the package ID,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, good
right?
point.
That might be easier, and this way we don't have to pull in like a very expensive operation here.
Yeah. Okay, so what so wait, that means we don't even need a function then.
We don't even need a function. Yeah, we can just
Okay.
create the tool right away and just fetch the changelog if there's one. Yeah.
Yep, makes sense. So that's going to be in Supabase in our wait, I thought we had a
Yes, I will do that, Naz. So the similarity and the match threshold. So the similarity is when we have text and we create an embedding. The embedding is a like we mentioned, it's a vector representation of that text, of those tokens, basically that you were able to detect in there. So what the similarity does is it tries to find a set of vectors that match the vector of the query from your user. So when you type a prompt in your chat, it's going to transform that into an embedding itself. So we'll have a vector for that as well. And then it will check the database to see if we have similar vectors. So those are vectors that have similar tokens in them. And then the similarity is how close we are to the query of the user. So if you say like, I don't know, how many releases are there in Supabase.js, then it will try to match that with whatever is in the release notes. And if we can find something close to that, then it will just return those, right? The similarity is always from 0 to 1, 1 being the exact same, and then 0 being completely unrelated. And then when you play with your AI chat, you kind of based on your data, you kind of play around with it with different threshold, and you see what kind of threshold is generally the one you want. Here for this particular app, we went with 0.5, which is like 50% similarity. But you could go with more if you really want it to be accurate or very specific. Yeah, it's up to you really. But that's kind of how it works generally.
for getting the changelog. We're going to run to that
Yes.
same issue where the chat is not going to know the package ID.
Yeah, it's okay. Just pass the package name.
You want to do package name in here?
Yeah, like worst case, you can
Get package
fetch the
change.
package with the
Get
package name.
so this will be get change log by package name. Okay. So we have
Yeah.
to do a fetch from change logs, select change log and embedding, but don't we also there's like a trick now, right? Because we want to do package name. So
Yeah,
what was that?
you don't need the embedding. Like just put changelog, put ID, so we have at least the ID of the changelog, which could be helpful.
Okay.
And then you have to do packages, a package, colon, packages, and then the name of the package.
In here, right?
Yes.
Packages, colon.
The same as above, basically. Yeah, there you go.
Wait, package, colon, packages, and then name scope equals.
So just to explain this, like package, the first package is the name of the key of the property you'll have in your object. So it's the name of the select. Packages is the name of the table we're targeting, and then name and scope are.
So hold on, package is what?
The equal package is the name of the alias, right? If you don't put that alias with the colon, it would just put packages as a property in your object, right?
Oh, so I don't actually have to have that.
You don't have to, but we just rename it because there's only one package here. So that's
okay. I see what you're saying. Okay. All right. So then equals name. And
the equal is where it didn't work last time, though. Remember? So I don't know exactly what the syntax is for this. And Supabase behind the scene is using their like prog REST, which is like a REST API to access Postgres.
Right. So could I just fetch the package here?
You could, but ideally we want to avoid that second query though.
Okay. Avoid the second query.
Yeah. So especially because we didn't create an index on the name, did we? So that's an expensive operation.
I thought we did. Change logs.
On the package name?
Oh no, packages. We did not. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Either way, like if we can avoid the two queries, that would be nice. But Supabase SDK has another function we could possibly use, which is filter. So we might be able to do that, but I don't know if we can filter on a join column. I just don't remember the syntax. I would be surprised if we couldn't, but just don't remember the syntax. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just seeing. I guess I could have just searched it, but of course. Yes. I was just asking ChatGPT if it knew how to do this, but it's actually just giving me. It's just giving me the exact answer that that I expected, which is selecting the packages.
Yeah. So try filter. There's a filter option in Supabase.
Okay.
Instead of EQ, you just put like filter.
Filter. Okay. Expected 3 arguments, got 2. So it expects.
And so filter should take. Let's see. Column is equal to value. Well, yeah, you could use equal, but filter could be a pattern.
Wait, it's using package ID still, so you can only filter because there's no join, right? There's no ability to join a table. So unless we.
But it does the relationship though, because we're able to fetch the package name and the package scope from the packages table, so it does the relationship. And I was.
So if I do this, if I was to just do this.
Oh, there you go. Match an associated value. Match only rows where each column in query keys is equal to the associated value.
What is it? What's the syntax?
Shorthand for EQ. Oh, it's the shorthand for EQ, so it's the same.
Let's try this. Get changelog by package name. I'm going to try this. So if I go into app protected page and I just say const package
filter reference table. Now we should be able to do this, but we have to use their inner, I think. So if you go into the query that you're writing.
Hold on here. I want to see what this returns. in the protected page. Oh, my bad. It'd be a server.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so bad request. Where'd that go? Wait, where did that go? Queries, there it is. I'm gonna close. Oh, I meant to close the other ones. Okay. So go here and do what?
So wait, packages didn't work for this? Can you check if we have the foreign key on the changelogs table? Just to make sure.
Foreign key. Change logs. Yep.
Okay. Okay, so go back to your query. And instead of the packages, blah, 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 like you use the same thing, but after packages, before the parentheses, just put exclamation point and then inner, INNER. Yeah. And then for the EQ, use packages.name. Try that.
Results. The results contain 0 rows.
0 rows. JSON object requested multiple no rows returned. Not acceptable. Okay, so that doesn't work. Interesting.
Okay.
So
Where
remove
is
the inner. Remove the
There
inner.
must be docs for this, no? Like Supabase must have.
Well, that's the part that's kind of lacking because the only
Really?
thing I can find is filter reference table, and that's exactly what they're doing here. So I don't really understand. But I think it's the opposite side that they're doing. They're fetching like countries which don't have a
Supabase
country
create
ID.
client. Yeah, they don't really.
Yeah. So
Huh.
if we were fetching the packages that have like a particular changelog ID, for example, let's pretend the relationship was kind of like reversed. It would kind of work, but here we're doing the opposite side, so it doesn't really match. I mean, you can try without the inner and just use package.name and see if we can packages.name. Yeah.
Do you
So
know what we
just
could do too? Is let's just select everything, right, and just see what this
yeah,
returns.
sure. I mean that should work.
So what do we get?
Yeah,
So we get ID, we get changelog, we get package as an object.
yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So we
So
could then say dot equal
package.name,
package dot name
that would be my
package
guess.
name. So what does that return us? Can I kill this? Can I do enter command K? Yeah, I can. Okay.
Just
Okay.
control Z, yeah.
Okay. So then if we reload, okay. So what do we get?
Whoa.
Oh, we got them all again.
Yeah.
But package is null. Okay.
Yeah, package is null. Yeah, so it's not fetching. And if you put the inner, we know we have the error, right?
Yeah. Okay. So that means that this is returning an
Well,
object.
it's packages.name.
No, it's not, because we renamed it to package,
It
right?
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The table in Supabase is packages.
But if you look at this, I mean,
Yeah, but the renaming is just for the object you get at the end, not for the query.
oh, okay. So
Package doesn't exist in your database, so your database is like, well, I don't know, right?
okay.
So I think it's packages. At least in their example, they use the table name, not the.
Okay, let's see. Oh, I guess I should. No, we get package null.
That makes zero sense. Okay, so add the inner again. Did you add the inner?
I did not. Let me add that.
Well, that's gonna fail though. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, he returns nothing.
It's really weird that there's no way. Let me check the Postgres documentation because it's very weird. It's a very common use
Supabase
case.
fetch a table, but by a foreign key column. I think that's bad. Best way to access foreign key table. Let's see. Select star, comma, user star, then you'll be able to access. Oh, wait, does that actually work? Hold on here. So select. Let's see. Okay. Dot equals.
Oh, can you do exclamation mark after packages, but do exclamation before the parentheses. You do exclamation mark, but then you do package ID, like the name of the column.
Okay. I don't need this anymore, or I do need this.
You still need it, yeah, because you need to specify which columns you're fetching.
Okay. No, still no.
Still no? Damn it.
So select. Let me see this. Let me go back to what this was. Dot from tweets dot select star comma users. Okay, so if I say from changelog select, let's just make it simple and just do star. And then we'll say comma packages. They actually did theirs in quotes, which I thought was kind of interesting. They did. Double quotes, actually. Oh, it probably doesn't matter. We can get rid of this. Okay. To make this easier, let's go to protected. Okay. Okay, what's coming back? So we are getting package's name.
Yeah, the Postgres thing, the documentation says that it's possible, and you do it by doing like row character equal EQ. So can you try dot filter instead of dot EQ?
Okay.
Okay, so we have packages, blah blah blah. Okay, we'll keep that instead of the filter. Instead of the EQ, just do filter. You do packages dot name, and
Yep.
then in the same thing,
Okay.
I believe, is equal.
No. It's a 3. You need 3, so
So it's not filtered in. It's another one.
what's this one coming back with? Yeah, packages null.
Wait, using filter.
From changelog, select everything. I'm going to change that back to just changelog. What the heck? I made no change there and it doesn't like it.
Querying joins. One to many join, blah, blah, blah. Specifying one clause.
What's this? Okay, yeah, that's exactly what we want. Damn it.
So they have 0 docs on how to actually do this, which is pretty quick. The only example I can find is this like weird Stack Overflow here, which is like using what we were trying to do, but it just doesn't work for us for some reason. So the only one I can find is this, and then it doesn't like do what we need. Query reference tables to a join table. Query nested table. Filtering through reference table. Yeah, they have the query that we're trying, and it just doesn't work. But their data source is also different. So
Right. Could not find a relationship between change logs and packages.
yeah.
Wait, that doesn't make any sense. Searched for a foreign key relationship between changelogs and packages using the hint outer in the schema public, but no matches were found. What?
It's weird.
Hold on. So we have package ID. So that's definitely a foreign key.
Oh, you're searching Next. I don't think we have a change log for Next. They don't have one. Try Storybook in your test.
Oh, it's actually returning Storybook, funny enough.
Yeah, okay. But you need to try the query that we had before where it was returning null, but actually fetch like Storybook.
Okay, there you go. Fetching Storybook.
Okay, so what's
Back
your query
to
now?
queries.
Yeah,
Let's just turn this back to what it was.
okay.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, but that is fetching all of them.
Yes, yeah.
So now let's try to return just Storybook.
Okay, so dot equals package name. Oh, did that work?
No, you need to reload your page, I guess.
Let me enter, do Control Z. Oops, sorry, enter, and do Command K. Okay. So let's reload. Storybook. Oh, you know what? Let's let's make this a little easier and let's just return the ID and the packages. There you go.
But it also has the null. So now try the exclamation mark inner, and it should filter out those nulls.
Yep.
Okay. So
But it says, oh yeah, error null. Yeah.
There you go. So that's the query. I was like going crazy here.
Okay. Comma change log. All right.
You have a double comma here.
Oh, do I?
Yep.
Query. Oh, yes. Thank you. Okay. There we go. So we got it.
Yeah. Make sure you name it package though.
Sorry?
You can rename
sure.
it to package now. Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
Sweet. Okay, so that's the change log. So now we need to call that function into a tool, and then it should do it.
We should be able to get rid of this now. Okay, so we'll go into into API chat route, and we'll do a match change log. Right?
Yeah. What happened, Naz, is that we were trying to fetch a change log and going crazy on the query, but turns out we were trying to fetch a package that doesn't have a change log. That's why we had nothing. So it wasn't the foreign key. It was just a human error here.
I'm not sure why that did releases. Should be change logs. Change log.
Yeah, I mean, you could return the function. You don't need to assign to a change log.
Oh, I see. Just return this.
Yep.
Whoops. I think I don't need that. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So now we need to find some kind of prompt that would trigger the changelog. So I think if you put the changelog word, it should kind of trigger that. Huh. You have something slow? Yeah, it's pretty slow. Okay. It's just very slow.
Okay.
So it did match the changelog, and there you go. Okay. Nice. So we do have the changelog, and it's kind of shortening it. So now, can you ask the difference between 8.3.0 and 8.3.2?
8.2.0?
8.3.2. Match releases.
Nope, it's doing releases.
Yeah, it's trying to match the releases.
It didn't keep the context of the changelog.
It's not that it didn't keep the context, it's just that your prompt didn't mention changelog. And so it jumped to releases because 8.3.0 looks like a release name. So it's like,
Yeah. Okay. So what if we said, what if we gave it kind of like a try and use the changelog when comparing first?
yeah, that could be a thing.
So like we could do like if you are asked
If you are asked
to
about the differences between releases,
the differences
try to
between
use the changelog first.
if you were asked to compare the difference between two versions of a package, try to use the change logs before using the releases. Like
Yeah,
that?
that could work.
Okay.
I still don't know if when we're writing that system prompt, the sentence order matters.
It probably does.
I don't know. It's hard to tell.
So it's fetching releases and then matching changelog, but that's okay. Oh, 500.
Well, yeah, because that will be a massive context.
Oh no, it's actually an issue with the key matching. Oh no, we got a 500 internal server.
Yeah. Look at your terminal. That's definitely a context error. Or, yeah, there you go. Because the releases plus the changelog, way too much context.
Yeah. Try without the releases.
Oh, here's an idea. So you know how we have that fetch releases tool, right? Right now we're just passing the package ID, the package as an argument. What if we add an argument to that tool being a limit, and we let the LLM decide how many like items it should get? So we add something to the schema that's like limit, and it's an integer, and then we just let the LLM figure out like, oh, I need to add, like I need to fetch 10 releases or 2 or 3. like maybe it can try and figure out something.
Okay.
And another option that I have, another idea, would be to try and get the versions. And if we have a version start and a version end, then we generate the filter and we pop it on the query to filter the releases between those two.
Okay.
But try the limit with the integer first. I'm kind of curious to see how it would handle this.
Okay, so that's going to be fetch releases, and we add a new parameter in here?
Yeah. Limit the number of releases to fetch. Yeah, try that. And then pass it to the fetch releases method. And we could have a default in there, I guess.
What do you want to limit it to?
Like 10 by default. Let's see. And then just pass the limit there. We might need to remove the dot single because that's not going to work. I don't know why we have. Oh no, that's the wrong query. This is to fetch the package.
Oh, okay.
We actually just need the So we could refactor this at some point to get rid of that first query because now that we did it with
Now that we
changelog.
know how to do that. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so yeah, let's try that and see what it actually fetches.
Really should have copied this. Storybook version 8.3.0 and version
8.3.
8.2.
I don't think there's an 8.2.0.
What? I thought you said.
No, 8.3.2.
Oh, my bad. Okay.
Call
Well,
it
let's see what happens.
two.
You have to figure out that unique key issue.
Yeah.
On the plus side, we're not hitting a 5. Oh.
You're missing something here. Expect.
Oh, no, that was just because I didn't have the comma. We're good. Yeah. It is doing the post. I think it's just taking its time.
So it's too much context still. Because that sounds like a LLM call that is too slow.
Yeah.
Maybe in the system prompt, we might need to modify, like if you are asked, if you decide to use the fetch releases tool or whatever, make the best estimate for the limit or something.
Right. All right. I'm just looking at the time. I think it's time for me to cancel. It's time for me to call it.
It's time for you to go. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, we should continue with this. Maybe we'll do some. I don't think we should. We should leave this for our stream. We should research it over the week and then see if we can actually come back and solve this live.
Sounds good. Yeah. We can resume next week and see where we can go. Maybe Nazanin, you have some ideas as well if you want to think of it. If you have some time.
Yeah, for sure.
Have some ideas to suggest. But yeah, let's do that. It's a short stream today, but we're both tired, I think.
Definitely.
So we go there. Okay, let me switch quickly to this mode. Boop-a-doo. All right, your screen is off. Yeah, we need to figure out that limit stuff. It's tricky. It's tricky to get the prompt to call the right tool and then get the tool to get the right data. Like
especially yeah. But it's fun, right?
We're working with. Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I don't know, it's fun. Like you gotta, you really have to think. You're like, okay, how would you do this?
But I think we should do like maybe some more work to try and clean up the data we get, because based on the package, you have a change log or you don't, or blah. We need to make sure we fetch the data, we clean it up so it's consistent.
Yep.
All the packages have a consistent set of data, and then make sure we split those embeddings properly so that we can fetch like as little as possible.
Yeah, well, I was thinking like, how we have each release in a version, like
Yeah.
it's stored per version. If we split the changelog like that, if we figured out a way of breaking the changelog down and storing it in changelogs by its version, but like I'm not talking like each individual version. I'm talking about like everything from the time version 2 was released until the time version 3 was released. That is stored and embedded. And this way, when you ask it for information, you just have to fetch the version that you're asking about.
Yeah, but it's like it's incrementally bigger. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. But we
Another
can we
option
can
would be
try
to
and
do it
set
like,
limits, right? We can try and say like, we'd have to figure out what the average really is, but we could even make it so that the version, there could be multiple rows that have the same version, because maybe that particular version, like say version 1, just had way too many releases, so we had to split it into separate rows, which I don't think is a big deal. We just have to make sure we do it correct.
yeah. The tricky part is managing that and then managing the size so that we can actually send something decent to the
Yeah.
LLM.
And like the one of the cool parts about this though is like once we figure it out, it never gets changed. You don't change the changelog, right? Like once you've mapped it, you're just
Well,
gonna have to go and do the latest. So
you just
basically,
do the
like when
latest,
we
yeah.
when we have our cron job that goes and refetches, it obviously has to fetch the entire changelog. There's nothing about we can do about that, but we
Yeah.
can check what we have as our latest version, and we can tell it, okay, you can just split and remove everything that's under this, and just embed the parts that are above.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, I feel like maybe we can just get rid of the changelog MD route, fetch
Mhm.
the releases on GitHub, and then maybe what we can do is just generate those little pieces one by one, you know?
Yeah, but don't some changelogs say a little bit more information than just the releases?
Well, the other option is to do the compare from GitHub and just get the list of commits. Not the full diff, but just the list of
Sorry
commits.
about that. That's damn mosquito.
Right? So if we have the two versions, we make a call to GitHub, we look at the compare, we fetch the list of commits, and we just return that.
Okay.
And we could do it on the fly. We don't even have to use any embedding for this. We just use a tool that can fetch GitHub releases.
Oh, my camera
It
got
just,
blurry. Sorry about that. What's
it
going
just
on
does
there?
that.
Let's see.
I think
Oh.
it's because you were chasing your mosquito, and now
Yeah, it's broken.
now
No.
it's zoomed in on your hand that was close to the camera.
Yeah, there we go. Come on, refocus.
The autofocus is challenging. It's tired today as
Interesting.
well.
Yeah, like it's perfectly getting my hand. There, can you see me?
Yeah, and
All right.
it's coming. It's coming
It's coming back. It's coming back. Yeah,
slowly.
slowly.
But yeah, like, well, I feel like the compare endpoint from GitHub could be helpful to us because that's the closest we have to actually getting data. That's
Okay.
something that between two versions that exist, it will always return us something.
Yeah. Well,
And we
let's look
can
into
use
it.
that something.
And when we come back on Monday, let's implement it and see if it works.
Sounds good. Yeah, let's do that.
Awesome.
Cool,
Well,
cool.
this was
All
fun
right.
as always.
Yeah. Thanks,
Until next
Nas, for
time.
joining. And
Yeah.
then I'll
Thanks
see
for
you
coming.
next week. Next week. Awesome. All right. Have a good night, folks. Cheers.